Okay, everybody, it's me. What a day! What a day! I have a lot to talk to you about, and it's just it's actually incredible. Seriously. So let me get started. This is my post-market wrap up on this Thursday, August 20th, 2020. Now, how many of you would be surprised to find out? You might even know this already, uh, but another record high for the stock market. The Nasdaq just closed at a new all-time record high. Meanwhile, this morning, what did we find out? Another 1.1 million people lost their jobs. It's absolutely incredible what we're witnessing here. Uh, I don't know how many of you caught Rick Santelli today on CNBC. The man sometimes goes off the deep end, and he's right a lot of the time. And I got a nice snapshot of him kind of screaming how there is no price discovery in this market because of action of the central banks around the world, none more so than the Federal Reserve, artificially suppressed rates, stock buybacks, all kinds of lovely things going on here. Great call here. There is no price discovery in this market whatsoever. Completely distorted. Makes no sense. We are in an epic bubble. There's been nothing like it in the history of the world. And the lies and the propaganda continue to get even worse. And we're going to cover more of that in just a little bit. So let's set the groundwork here real quick. Again, another record high for the NASDAQ. None of this is a surprise to you. I foretold this last week. I said this week here would be a big one for the market, new record highs. Well, we got two new record highs for the NASDAQ, a new record highs for the S&P 500 just yesterday. Again, no surprise to you whatsoever. It's all coming together as planned, as outlined for you. I will always keep you ahead of the curve. You know that. So let's talk about a few other things here. The dollar, again, under pressure. Silver put on a little gain. Gold, a fractional loss. Cryptocurrencies got bit higher. Crude oil fell a little bit. And the 10-year yield, 0.65. Remember, we went from 0.50 to 0.7172, and now we've come down a little bit, 0.65. And again, what does this do? What does artificially suppressed rates do? Well, it forces a risk-on environment. Cash moves into the stock market, a place where it shouldn't be going into, and inflates bubbles. Period. I mean, we are in a multiple bubble environment. You all know that. The biggest of them all, the mother, and I mean mother of them all, is the debt market. And it's just being rigged to the highest order, So what we're going to do now is look, there was so much happening today, and I did a blow-by-blow most of the day here. If you follow me on Twitter, you got probably most of it. And I'm gonna cover this one by one, and I'm gonna also translate a few things. Some of these things need translation, so let's do that here. Let me open this page here real quick. Okay. So what happened today was very interesting, and I covered it this morning. Stock futures were down over 200 points with regard to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Then all of a sudden, they float out the story. China trade talks are going. They're back on again. It was enough to reverse stock futures and pull out a new record high. I can't, and this is me. How much total BS, fake back and forth, U.S. China trade talk propaganda nonsense will people in this market buy? I guess it's endless. It's fake. It's not real. None of it is real. The China trade deal, as Peter Navarro said, is dead. There's no deal. There never was a deal. But what they're trying to do is prop this all up for the election. The deal isn't dead, but it's completely stone cold dead. There never even was a deal. We all know that. It was a lie propagated on not just the people of America, but the people of the world here. The big ceremony, the big signing. Incredible. But the big tell there was President Xi, is that how you say his name, of China? He didn't even show up for the historic signing. No, he wasn't there. You don't believe me? Go look it up for yourself. I got a nice snapshot of it at the time. I want you to ponder something as we're going through this, and this is a question I put out there. A question, in your opinion, is America today on the right track? Look around you, and I want to hear from you on that deal. Now, let me cover this, because this is going to be of utmost importance to you if you are a gold and silver stacker. So we found this out today, and I posted this everywhere, and I want to know what you think. So Scotiabank is now going to pay a fine for spoofing, manipulating, and rigging the price of gold and silver thousands of times over the last 8 years. Let that sink in. They're going to pay a fine. Where are the arrests? An 8-year crime spree, let's call it what it is, done thousands of times, and they're paying a fine. Let me ask you, here, in your opinion, should a bank like Scotiabank, who just got caught rigging the price of gold and silver thousands of times over 8 years, just pay a fine? Does that sound fair to you? And then why, again, in your opinion, this is me, can banks do anything they want and maybe just pay a fine? You and me, we would be in handcuffs. We would be locked up probably for life. It just blows my mind. It really does. And you know why? Because people don't say anything. It's really the truth. And then we found out that former President Trump advisor Steve Bannon was now arrested. He's in handcuffs for fraud. What a shock. Fraud in this administration? No, it can't be. It's impossible. So Bannon got locked up, but Hillary is still free. Hillary is still free. I wanted to see her locked up. I don't know about you, and I know I'm probably going to get heat for it, but the woman needed to be locked up. In case you want to know, on Amazon right now, you can still buy a Donald Trump Lock Up Hillary Clinton t-shirt. I posted a link to this if you want it. I mean, that didn't work out so well, did it? No. All right, let's move forward here, people. We keep hearing about currency debasement. All of you are aware of this. I've been explaining to you what's happening to the dollar. There's a piece here in Yahoo Finance explaining what I've been talking about like forever, and I posted a link to this too, how the debasement of the US dollar, in other words, its loss of purchasing power, is going to hurt you. Whatever's left of the middle class, and you are being destroyed. Incredible. Let's move forward here. So the World Trade Organization index just hit a record low. I want you to think about what we're talking about here. We have a global economy, at least we're supposed to have one, but global trade is grinding to an absolute halt here. Because of the coronavirus scamdemic. And this scamdemic, it gets worse. I want you to keep that in the back of your mind as I go forward here. A lot of stuff I said to talk about. Now, we heard from Larry Kudlow not once, but twice today. So look, like I said, we lost another 1.1 million people. There is no economic recovery in sight. In fact, we keep hearing about how it's going to get much worse. But Larry Kudlow was paraded out today, not once, but twice. Here he is. The U.S. economy is rebounding strongly. Right now, Larry Kudlow wants you to believe that the U.S. economy is rebounding strongly. Not just that. Out campaigning for President Trump, I guess, or either that or he's really snorting a little too much. He said that we can expect, and let's hold him to this, at least a 20% economic rebound, possibly as high as 30%. Coming up at the end of the year. Well, we're kind of really close now, Larry. We understand that you have to lie to us, but I think personally, Larry, you should be in handcuffs. Forget Steve Bannon. Forget Hillary Clinton. You should be in handcuffs because, you see, you're committing wire fraud. You are committing wire fraud, lying to the American people. Again, in this environment of lies here, I guess everything, is all fair. Or I thought that was just love and war. But no, Larry Kudlow is trying to convince you that everything could not possibly be better than it is right now. Maybe we should ask the 1.1 million people that just lost their jobs, or maybe the tens of million people that remain out of work. How about that, Larry Kudlow? Or maybe the 50% of small businesses that have been culled here in the United States. Meanwhile, corporate America, stronger as they've ever been. Now, how about this? How many of you out here would be surprised to find out that Wall Street is expecting to get record bonuses this year? Record bonuses for Wall Street executives. How does that work? Is that good? You're okay with that? I guess you are, because if you don't speak out, then I guess you're complicit as well. But yeah, Wall Street executives are expecting record high bonuses. And let me say this with a smirk on my face: they're gonna get it. They are gonna get it. And here's Rick Santelli yelling and screaming about no price discovery in this market. Thank you, Rick. You got that one right. Let's move forward here, people. The IMF here, again, willing to lend more cash to countries buried in debt already. They're more than willing to lend more to countries around the world, nations around the world that are desperate and their people are starving. I got it. But that's the trap here. And it's not going to stop. It's like what's going on here in the United States. I said on Greg Hunter's show years ago that the last meltdown, we bailed out the banks. And I said in the future, we were going to see the Federal Reserve bail out the United States and the world. And that's exactly what's happening. It's a takeover. The Federal Reserve, central banks are taking over the world. The debt-based economic model. People, let me explain this to you. The debt-based economic model, this is all the modern nations of the world are dependent on the debt-based system, which means that debt must be borrowed into existence in greater and greater amounts just to sustain where we are. This system has been a curse upon mankind. It has created slavery, starvation, it's done nothing, death on a biblical scale. That's what the debt-based economic model has brought to the world, okay? We once had a wealth-based system. Now we have a debt-based system. And that debt-based system is coming after you directly in the form of currency debasement, like I spoke about already, like everyone's talking about now, the dying dollar, which is going to be replaced via a currency crisis. That's coming. Again, we lose. We absolutely lose. So again, going back to how I started this off, do you think America is on the right track right now? I don't even think we're on the tracks right now. We are off the rails on a crazy train in a lot of ways. All right, let's move on here, people. Like I said, there's a lot. So let me read this to you real quick. This is me, and I posted this. Understand what you are seeing. A massive wealth transfer. The U.S. economy and the American middle class are caught in a bloodbath. Meanwhile, corporations are stronger than ever, and Wall Street bonuses are bigger than ever. Banks are richer, the richer is richer, and this is just the beginning. How do you fit into that? I want you to think about it. Things are going great. Let me say this, and I'm not bashing the president. Make America Great Again, or MAGA, has proven to be a nightmare, and it would not be any better if it were anyone else there either. So I just want to be clear, all right? But MAGA has turned into a nightmare on a truly epic scale, and we haven't even seen anything yet. Now we got the other troll today. Again, and every time I point out this guy, I get beat up, and I don't really care. I don't like Bill Gates. I'm surprised he has a fan club. But Bill Gates here, this is exactly what he put out today. Millions more will die in this pandemic, and freedom will be hindered because of the virus. Freedom is going to be hindered because of the virus. Interesting. And millions more are going to die. Great, Bill Gates. You obviously have an agenda here. We know what it is. All right. Let's move forward here. Going back to what I've explained to you for a decade, I said the middle class will no longer exist in the future. And as we are at the threshold of that, we are finding out that members of the middle class here have virtually zero savings. In fact, most members of the middle class are buried in debt beyond their eyeballs, which actually makes them not members of the middle class. They're living in some kind of fantasy land. So now the bills are coming due. Is that you? I want you to think about it. I want you to think about that. Now, here's another one I want to talk about real quick. So we heard from the World Bank. I think I covered this earlier today. The World Bank is looking for ways, the World Bank and the IMF are looking for ways to make it easier for nations around the world that, again, are already in debt, beyond their eyeballs, they're starving, to take out loans at a better rate. How does that work? Again, it's the debt-based economic model, people, and it's much bigger than that. They want to kill you. I don't think you understand the bigger plan here. The bigger plan is, well, I think death on a biblical scale for people. It's really truth. Lennon, I posted this. Let me ask you, do you believe that one day, maybe, the people will rise up and revolt against this hideous machine? It seems to me that most people worship this machine, and they are willing slaves to it. It's the truth. It's very, very sick. It's very, very twisted. And so let's move forward here. And this upset me. All right, I'm going to give credit to the president. President Trump, remember a few months back, he took charge from the CDC. He said they were pushing propaganda. They were pushing fake numbers with regard to the coronavirus, COVID-19. Well, for some reason today, I don't know why, he reversed it. Now he's given the same power that he roared against back to the same institution. Explain that one to me, someone, because I backed up the president on this. I said the president was right on this because all this is being fluffed up. It's all fake. The data is not real. Even Fauci admitted the data is a little bit askew. But now the Trump administration is giving this power back to the CDC. Okay, I don't like it. How about you? Gets even better than that. So this is the new thing. Urinals and toilets may spread COVID-19. My suggestion, don't stick your head in the toilet. Don't lick the toilet. Don't drink urine or eat, excrement, and you'll probably be okay. You can't make this stuff up. It's impossible to do. It's impossible to freaking do. Urinals can release inhalable coronavirus particles. Awesome. Freaking perfect. I'll tell you, people. And then this one here. 40 million American citizens right now are facing eviction. They are facing eviction here unless something gets done. Let me explain to you what is going to get done. They're going to be evicted. And the banks are going to be more than happy to foreclose on their houses. Oh yeah, of course. Some of these houses probably are paid, maybe they're paid halfway off or something like that. But remember, once they get foreclosed, you lose. You understand? Think about the numbers that we're talking about here. 40 million. And I'd be willing to bet it's even more than that. I just, look, it's incredible. Now, how about this? 70 million. Look, I don't know anything about this, okay? So I'm not even going to call this out, but I want you to be aware. I would love to hear your take on this. 750 million genetically modified mosquitoes are going to be released across the Florida Keys. Now, apparently this is a good thing. This is what they're explaining, that these 750 million genetically modified mosquitoes are going to be released because they're going to kill the bad mosquitoes. Okay. How do you feel about that? I don't like it. I don't think man has enough know-how yet to be playing supreme being. I don't like it. I just don't like it. Now, here's something else I want to talk about, please, people. Bear with me. I know this is long. Drug use, alcohol consumption, and suicide rates are skyrocketing, not just here in the United States, but all over the entire world. I posted a few links to this. Pandemic effect on already rising suicide rates is raising alarm. Okay, there's one headline here. Now let's go over some stats here. Drug overdoses, when compared to the last year at the same time, in March rose 18%, April 29%, May 42%. You notice it keeps going up, and the trend is higher. This is again fallout here from this scam that we're all caught in. We're caught in a scam, and it's much bigger than I think most of you probably understand here. Now let's talk about this. Someone posted this earlier, how this whole thing started, and I want you to think about it. Imagine a 2-week plan, how this started, to preserve hospital capacity. You know, when this thing started, the coronavirus started, has now turned into 6 months of near isolation, irreparable economic damage, a mental health crisis, drug abuse skyrocketing, alcoholism skyrocketing, suicide skyrocketing, a dissolution of fundamental rights, mass unemployment, closure of 50% of small businesses, and food supply shortages. That's what this turned into. It started out as a 2-week plan. I want you to think about that. So what does this come down to? People, I want you to expect anything. Expect any freaking thing to come next. That's the environment we're in. It's completely out of control. Meanwhile, it's all about control. You understand? Look, I covered a lot of things here in this video. It's a long video, probably one of the longest ones I've ever done. I want you to ponder these things, and I'm going to ask you, especially if you consider yourself, someone that likes Greg a little bit, even this much, please share the video. People need to hear this stuff. Put it on every single social network you have. Encourage people to get involved. Listen to this stuff. Anyway, look, people, again, in the end, we are going to need each other. And the end is here. This is it now. And we need each other more than ever. I've been telling you this since how long? You remember, every Friday I tell you, love each other, care about each other, and be charitable. We got to come together. We must come together here. Because this thing that we are stuck in, we haven't seen anything yet. Remember I said that. I will see you in the morning.